gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you see dirty busy when you see dirty busy. You where they find the pity. Tell Odogu say we like to party. Just call me the one dirty busy. You gonna dirty busy when you.
Welcome to Do Good Work Podcast, hosted by Terrell Strayhorn and Jaquin Johnson. We specialize in taking a deep dive into issues that truly matter. Each episode unpacks the challenges and opportunities facing today's leaders, from classrooms to boardrooms, offering insights that inspire real change. By redefining success, we're changing lives, empowering people everywhere to create environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging, whether at home, work, or school. So hey, sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we explore the issues shaping our futures, one meaningful conversation at a time. Let's go!
What does it truly mean to do good work? It's not just about excellence, it's about making a real difference. Do Good Work Podcast explores how impactful work can transform lives and communities. Join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for the Do Good Work Podcast. Stream live on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. Be part of a community that values meaningful change. Our mission is to highlight leaders, educators, politicians, and change makers everywhere. We redefine success by showcasing stories of transformation, liberation, and innovation. In each episode, discover how individuals like yourself can and are making a difference. Through inspiring stories, we aim to ignite your passion for change. Learn from those who are not just succeeding, but are also impacting lives positively. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episodes. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Stay connected and be part of our growing community. Engagement is key. Drop comments in the chat. I know your support helps us continue to bring impactful stories to life. Double tap and show some love for the work that truly matters. Missed an episode?
No worries.
Catch up on past episodes for more insights and inspiration. Each story offers a unique perspective on doing good work. Revisit powerful conversations and learn from diverse voices. Every episode is a chance to gain new understanding and motivation. Don't just do something good. By subscribing and engaging with us every Sunday, you'll be part of a movement that values meaningful impact. Call to action, subscribe, watch, and engage with us every Sunday. Let's make a difference together. Do good work.
Welcome to Do Good Work Podcast. I'm your host, Terrell Strayhorn. You are back for another exciting episode of Do Good Work Podcast. I'm so excited to have you with us tonight, and we've got a great show in store for you. So if you haven't already, do me a favor and like and subscribe to the button. Trying to make sure I circulate this as I always do. All right. And let folks know that the podcast has started, that the show is on, that we are live, and we welcome them to come and join us for this episode. And so happy Sunday to each and every one of you. It is, what does this mean? I don't know what this means. Oh, there we go. But happy Sunday to each and every one of you. Glad that you have made it to the show. And we got a great show for you. And I want to take a moment to get us started. I've shared it across several platforms now, so I'll stop there. All right. So again, happy Sunday to you. You know how we kick off every single show on Sunday night. We start with the first letter of your last name, something that sort of captures the essence of your week, of your time, of your season. And I'm going to go with, I hope I haven't used this recently. I always feel like I'm forgetting which words I've used, but I'm going to go with supported. That's, oh, no, not supported, surrounded. And I wish I had downloaded or had access. Maybe I can grab it. There's a song called Surrounded, and I'll see if I can grab it during one of the breaks and play it for you. But it's been a busy week, got lots of things going on, especially at work, different deadlines and things I've been working on. And so to know that I'm not doing those by myself, that I'm surrounded by a community of friends and family who love me, certainly want to shout out my team that has been pulling late nighters, all nighters, early mornings with me. And to my mother, there she is, sensational, who has been not only just sensational, but has been riding that deadline with us and supporting us in different ways. To my friends who have traveled or jumped on screen and stayed on screen with me to make sure that these things are done. Love and light to each and every one of you. And so if you take the first letter of your last name, if your last name is Bennett, it's a B. Think of a B word that kind of captures the essence of your season, your week, your day. You want to share it, put it on the screen. If your last name is Wright, then it's a W. Use a W word. And when you share it in the screen or in the chat on any platform, I'll put it on the screen here in the studio. For those of you who have been in the show several times before, you know that we have a new hotline shown on the top of the screen. 713-496-2717. That's 713-496-2717. If you call that number, then I'll answer it here live in the studio. You can be here live. You can ask a question, share some perspective, share your voice on the matter. Or you can text that number and I'll read the comment. I will not disclose your phone number. Don't worry, no one will be calling you. But you have multiple ways that you can tune in, you can connect, you can be a part of the show across all of our platforms. And of course, we're coming to you on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And certainly want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. All right. So get that letter, first letter of your last name, share that on the platform, and we'll get it here shown on the screen. Now, I'm not going to keep you long, as we typically would say in church, because it's one of those days where I've been going hard with a lot of the work that needs to be done. Got a big deadline today, and I haven't eaten. And so I'm going to make sure that after the show, I grab a bite to eat. So the only thing standing between me and some dinner is my wonderful time with you. I'm excited about the time with you, but the moment that the show is over, I'm rushing off to grab something to eat. And so hopefully you'll be okay with that. Okay, so if you haven't already, help me share the link out, put it in your chats, your group, share it on social media. I don't know why this thing will not let me do this. All right, can't multitask right now. Cool. So while that's going on, let me get into the opening for tonight's show. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, and tonight's show is really about, fitting for this season, about working and looking busy, and then all of this new insight and data we have about burnout and productivity and workplace culture. And so I want to really get into some of those issues, certainly have some clips and songs for you tonight. But to kick us off, let me ask you a question. Have you ever finished your work early or finished a project early, but waited to turn it in or announce completion of it because you did not want anyone to give you something else to do? Have you ever almost completed a task and decided you wouldn't put that final touch on it because you didn't want to have to do something else? So you sort of held on to an unfinished product to sort of manage the amount of work that was on your desk. Have you ever kept your laptop open, moved your mouse, stared intensely at the screen, or walked quickly through the office carrying a folder just so everyone would know that you were busy, that you were present, that you were working? I was with my team the other day, and some of them know this, some watching the episode now and some who will watch it later. At some point, I took some pictures of us. And, I like taking pictures of me and my team, but I also took pictures to memorialize the fact that we were working on the thing we were working on at a very, very late hour, because that picture would be a memory. That picture would have a time stamp and a date on it. But have you ever done that? Been working, been moving, did something just to demonstrate and to show to people that you're present, you're busy, you're working? Have you ever taken an hour to complete a task and then held on to it because completing it too quickly might raise some suspicions or expectations? Or have you ever taken longer than an hour to complete a task and then thought back, why did it take me so long, but realized somewhere along the way you multitasked, you went to go pour coffee, you helped a colleague with another piece that their work got in the way of your work? Or maybe you're a supervisor, team leader, who looks across the office and you see other people answering phones and attending messages, updating calendars, sending emails, looking visibly occupied. But at the end of the week, we're all still asking, what did I actually get done? And that's the tension that we're going to explore a little bit tonight, because we live in a culture that often confuses movement with progress, that confuses sound and swiftness with success. And so we praise people for staying late and responding quickly and looking overwhelmed. And we even get to a point where we celebrate exhaustion and call it dedication. Sometimes we punish the most efficient worker by giving them somebody else's unfinished assignment. We do it all the time in schools. You think about it, when a student finishes assignment first, or they're the quickest to complete the test, what happens? The teacher says, okay, well, you can get up and go help other people. I'm not saying that helping other people is not good, but it starts to teach us a very dangerous lesson. And that is that we should not necessarily work faster or better or complete things, because completion leads to more. And so then we start to specialize in working on things that will never be done. We work on and specialize in keeping the assignment open, keeping the laptop open, keeping the work in progress, just so that we don't, one, have more to do, or so that those who are looking on and evaluating and judging can understand that we are busy. So tonight we're talking about this. It's a performance trap is what people call it in the writing. And it's the widening gap between doing meaningful work and performing the appearance of productivity. I can look busy, I can sound smart and productive, but there's a difference between sounding and performing and looking and actually being or doing. We're going to talk about that tonight, because evidence is pretty clear. Performing productivity, sounding smart, what they say, playing the game, putting on, all of that takes up more energy, more bandwidth, more space, more time, more effort. And because of that, it leads and can lead to burnout. And so we got to talk about that. We have to talk about the high performer task. And of course, we're going to talk about belonging, because people do their best work when they feel trusted, respected, recognized, and valued in the places where they work. All right. So this is a Do Good Work podcast. I'm your host, Terrell Strayhorn, and we're going to get right to work on some of this after this quick break. Enjoy and don't go anywhere. Remember, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel, follow us on YouTube, and we'll take this very quick a break.
The day could be today that your career is over. Now what do you do? So I better get to work. Rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by. I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have. But I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
See, in your life, everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what. Because God is always coming. He's never too late.
Nobody you know has become successful outside of it being given to them from their family. Nobody you know has actually created success without working their face off. It doesn't exist. So you can sit and talk about luck, and you can sit and talk about this, that, or the other thing, but I promise you, the only controllable thing you have is your work ethic.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small." in settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit.
Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times.
Without consistency, you'll never finish. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test was 9 dots. And you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams.
Winter's not forever. No pandemic lives forever. Everything changes and everything ends. And the good news about winter is it's always followed by springtime. What follows the night? The daytime. What a cool way to set it up if you were God or the universe. The first thing I do every single morning is I go in freezing cold water. And when you jump in, it never feels good to go in, but getting out, you feel incredible. But I do it for a different reason. I do it to train my brain to say, when I say now, it means now. When I say go, we go. I don't stand there because it's cold and go maybe in a minute when I'm ready. But I always do it because I've trained my brain. This is how we work. And if you train your brain to do that every single day, then it'll do it on the more difficult and important things in life.
Hey fam, want to know how to subscribe to the channel? Well, let's get started. First, open your web browser or the YouTube app on your phone or computer. If on a computer, type www.youtube.com into the browser bar. Step 2, find the channel. In the search bar at the top, type Terrell Strayhorn, or simply visit my channel directly at Terrell Strayhorn Step 3. While watching a video on the channel, click the like button. It tells YouTube this content matters, and it helps others find it too. Step 4, hit subscribe and don't forget to click the bell to turn on notifications. Now you'll be notified every time we go live or post something new. And presto, that's it. That's all. Thanks for being part of the community. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the channel. Continue to do good work. Hey fam.
Got a call from a cousin, she's at home with the baby. Say, it's been a little rough lately. My car's been running and my time ain't taking. I've been looking for a way to make a difference. Said, I'll be right over. Do you want any snacks? Stop by the store and got a couple of bags. It's as easy as that, and if I have a hand, I'ma give it. Oh, there is no small kind of giving. Yeah, there is no work that's too little. If you do it with love, you can move any mountain. There's a voice inside me that keeps shouting, oh, do good work. Do good work. Do good work. Hey. Do good work. Do good work. Yeah. Do good work. On a walk in the park and I see a little paper. If I leave it, what will happen later? I pick it up and take it to the trash can. It takes a second, but the effort makes a difference. Ladies, walk in the dark. Oh, oh. She's a little bit older. Say, hey,
right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, let's get into this topic for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. This is Do Good Work Podcast. I'm your host, Terrell. And I asked in the opening sort of monologue if you resonated with the topic for tonight. So in the comments or in the chat or the hotline, let me know, have you ever pretended to be busier than you actually were? Pretending to be busier than you actually were. And you don't have to incriminate yourself. You can simply put, hypothetically speaking, if you want. And also, have you ever completed your work so quickly or efficiently and immediately been rewarded with more work? Something that happens a lot. And for those who are trying to, put experiences with names, people call that the high performer tax. You can put that in the comments if you want. High performer tax. When you are a high performer, there's a consequence of that sometimes in certain places. And it's that you reward work with. I was driving down the street one day, maybe about a month ago, and I saw off to the side this sign that was mounted at a restaurant that had these little LED lights up there, and it said, the reward for good work is more work. High performer tax. And tonight's episode was really inspired by a recent report from a workplace survey in which 2/3 of respondents admitted to sometimes pretending to be busy. Now, among the reported reasons for pretending to be busy or performing productivity was the fear of judgment. So people go to work or are in places where they don't want to be judged as being lazy, not being productive, not being focused. So the first was the fear of judgment and the belief that finishing early would simply result in them receiving additional work. So rather than put the period and turn it in or submit the document, they held on to it and kept working, right? Or kept appearing to look like their work. So now we want to be careful that any single survey doesn't represent every employee, obviously, or every workplace. But the conversation that it raises is real. And that is, why would so many people feel the need to perform busyness? And why do some organizations measure activity rather than impact? And how do we create workplaces where being efficient doesn't become a punishment? Because you can be so good that you know how to get there quickly, fast, and without too much waste in terms of process and time. But before you know it, now you are being held up and celebrated as getting it done, saving the team, being highly productive. And so then the reward for that good work is more work. So let's talk a little bit about why people pretend to be busy, especially according to this recent survey. And we can talk about the obvious, and that is that pretending to work is not the same as working. If somebody is intentionally avoiding their responsibilities, they're missing deadlines, they're deceiving their colleagues, or collecting a paycheck while refusing to do their job, fulfill their role, complete their part, that is a serious performance issue. And we do not have to dress irresponsibility up as empowerment, right? Doing good work requires honesty, accountability, and contribution. But that's not the entire story, because some employees are performing busyness while also completing every assignment they were given. They are performing productivity, but also being productive. They are not always hiding laziness. Sometimes they're hiding efficiency. Sometimes they're hiding giftedness. Sometimes they're hiding focus, right? And so some workplaces reward time, not results. Consider like two employees. I finished a book on workplace belonging that will come out later this summer. And in that book, I have all sorts of little vignettes and case studies. One of them is employee A who completes an assignment accurately in 2 hours. But employee B takes the entire day. In some workplaces, employee A, receives 3 more assignments, while employee B is praised for remaining focused all day. Sometimes employee A can be mischaracterized and misunderstood as rushing, moving too swiftly, not being, deeply committed to the project, being all over the place, when in fact what you have is an efficient employee who completed their assignment accurately and did it efficiently in a relatively small period of time. So what did the organization just teach employee A? Employee A learns and is taught that work should be slow. And in fact, the organization teaches that worker to slow down. Take your time. What can be done in 2 hours, figure out how to make it 8. Yet the organization says that it values productivity, but its reward system values time, values visible occupation, values not efficiency, but extensive time working on single task. That's the performance trap. The performance trap is when the values that an organization espouses, that is what it says about itself, does not line up with what it actually enacts on a day-to-day basis. That we might say we celebrate productivity, we say we value excellence, we say we value performance, but yet we reward mediocrity, we reward longevity, we reward other kinds of outcomes. Okay, so also drawn from the survey is this idea that workers may fear appearing unnecessary, especially in today's time with the advance of technology, the advance of AI. Technology has created yet another complication in the workplace, and that is some people believe that if they finish their work too quickly, the organization may conclude, or the boss may conclude, or the supervisor may conclude that their position is now unnecessary. So they stretch their assignment and they make themselves look important and look necessary and look needed. And things that AI can do, even if it does do, we hardly ever shout out the technology, the artificial intelligence, and the other tools that we use to accomplish our work, because we have created this scenario in some workplaces where humans are now in competition with technology and with AI and robotics, because we're worried that if the organization feels like the technology can do it quicker, faster, sooner, whatever, we will be unnecessary and therefore unemployed. So we stretch our assignments, we over speak and finesse our role and our contribution in it. And instead of completing the assignment and turning it in, humans, workers, employees, according to the survey and many things that I've observed in workplaces where I have consulted, they create activity, they create meetings, they create movement, right? So now all of a sudden we got to have a task force. That task force has to have 8 or 9 meetings. They produce long email chains and document all of that, not because those actions are necessary, are vital, or even create value, but because visibility and preoccupation and meetings and agenda and calendaring feels like job protection. This becomes especially intense in workplaces that are dealing with layoffs, restructuring, high turnover, and as I said earlier, the infusion of technology, especially artificial intelligence technology. So if you've ever been like that, been in a workplace like that, let me know. Drop something in the chat, or you can call me here in the hotline. You can drop a text in the hotline. If you are going to dial in and want to share about that, it's 713-496-2717, 713-496-2717. But if you've ever witnessed in today's workplace, we have all of this movement. And interestingly enough, this report also points out that there's people are, motivated to perform busyness, to perform productivity, to be, in a very literal sense, less efficient because of this monitoring and surveillance that goes on in workplaces. Things are being monitored and watched and so forth. So monitoring can create that theater. When leaders focus heavily on status lights, that means like if I've worked in places and I've consulted in places where people are looking in, say in Microsoft Office online, they're looking for that little color beside your name to be green. That means you are live and in the system. You can go into Microsoft Teams and pull up a person's name and there'll be a color. Green meaning they're active, they're live in the system, that they've done something recently that shows proof of life. Yellow and red, right? So there's monitoring of that in some in-person and remote workplaces where leaders are focusing heavily on monitoring presence and work and showing up. And so when they do that, they monitor those status lights or our keystrokes or our camera activity, our response times. And, I've consulted with a company where at the end of the strategic sort of work month, the CEO and the executive team gets a report out of what they call the health of their team. And that health report includes like how many people logged into the system and how many emails were sent and how many emails had replies and how much time did employees spend in the online office system, or did they spend in the email? Did they spend in the Slack communication channels? So you have lots of metrics, but that report, as I was working with that team, I helped them understand that report is one piece of the puzzle, but we had to take a step back from it and ask bigger questions like, what metric and number represents health for the organization? Like, do you want people in their email for 26 hours a week? That seems extreme. So it's not a situation of the larger the number, the healthier the organization, or even necessarily the smaller the number, the healthier the organization. It's some benchmark or some number in between. That here's another thing, that system, that report that they would get would show how many employees were live and in the system, status green, working. But when you pair that with HR data on people's leave, overtime pay, voluntary leave, sick leave, when you match those together, you would learn that there are large numbers of staff on their team who were live in the system, green status light, though they were off that day or they were out sick. And then if we're going to use this report to make an assessment of overall health, leaders have to ask questions like, do we want people necessarily working when they're supposed to be off? When most data suggests that a healthy, balanced workplace is when people are off, they're off. So when leaders focus heavily on these kind of metrics, workers may become highly skilled at satisfying that surveillance system. They know how to plug in. They know how to show up green. They know how to send emails. They know how to respond at a certain time. They know how to be present in the meetings. But satisfying a tracking system is not necessarily the same as accomplishing the mission, the vision, the core values, and really work-life balance. Monitoring may produce compliance. Certainly when people know you're watching them, they comply. This is the logic that informs most stores and their loss prevention methods. Said differently, when I worked at Gap and Banana Republic, I learned that this was when I worked there. It could be a little different now, but some stores you go into have cameras mounted everywhere. And let's even go a step further. Some stores and restaurants you go in have security guards at the front door. Why? Because the presence of that officer is to let you know that someone's watching you, that they're expecting you to behave right, and that this place is monitored, and any violation of the law or the rules will be handled, and likely handled by this officer. So physical presence is about the strongest kind of monitoring you can get. Some people, some stores, I never worked in a Banana Republic or a Gap that had, well, that's not true. I think I worked in one that had a security officer, but most don't. What they do have is they have these cameras posted everywhere where if you go into the store, you can see that you are being watched. And they might even have a sign that says you're being surveilled. This whole store is under monitoring. Why? Because that surveillance system or that monitoring, the cameras, the placement of the cameras was designed to produce compliance, to make people know, people are watching me. That camera's going to catch me, so don't steal. Now, I also know that there are some stores that have signs but no camera that will say things like, this store is being monitored, but what you don't know is that there are no cameras in that store. And that's true for some corner stores, that's true for some grocery stores, but the mere presence of that sign, according to psychology, my discipline, many humans will comply. Because we don't typically go looking for all the cameras and count them and look under the hood and under the counter. We just assume the presence of that sign does it. So my point is, when in workplaces, when employees start saying, hey, we're monitoring these systems, we're watching the time you log in, we're watching the time you log out, we're looking at how long you go to break. A lot of that is done to try to get us to comply as humans, make sure we don't go take extended breaks and we don't not come to work. But it does not automatically produce creativity, trust, judgment, commitment, and productivity. So let me ask any of the leaders who are listening, could your best employee complete the essential responsibilities of the role in less time than the job traditionally requires? And get that person in mind. And when that happens, that the person completes the job in less time than traditionally required, do you as a supervisor, do you as an executive leader, does the organization reward the person's efficiency? Or do you fill every available minute with additional labor? So when I started reading more about efficiency and productivity and trust and work-life balance, I started doing some things, trying some things, experimenting with things as a supervisor, as a leader, as a manager. I had a guy on my team one time who was incredibly productive, incredibly efficient, could certainly complete tasks associated with his role in less time than typical and less time than traditional folks might require. So to embody what I'm talking about tonight and to enact it and to experiment, because it wasn't typical at the place where I was working at the time, I would, when he would come and say, hey, I finished this, I've knocked this out, here are the 3 reports you've asked for, and it's noon, I would say, great, let me take a look at this, take the rest of the day off. Take the rest of the day to yourself. He doesn't have to take it off because I was going to pay him, because he did in 4 hours what most people do in 8. And then I started saying, when you give me the product and I see that it's high quality and it's productive and it's doing what I need it to do, I would reward efficiency with time, freedom, flexibility. Hey, if I can't get you to, go home or take the rest of the day, maybe go work on a project that that's a passion project of yours. Go connect with one of your colleagues. But I would not put additional labor, additional work on his to-do list, because I wanted to celebrate the efficiency, the productivity. That question really matters because people pay attention to what happens to the person who finishes first. If you remember being in grade school, when someone's like, the teacher might say, all right, here's a quiz. And then people, and then they put their hands down and the teacher says, hey, Marcus, what are you doing? Stay focused. And Marcus says, I'm already done. She says, well, there's no way you could already be done. Students are listening to that. And that's why no one else is going to slam their hand down and say they're done right after Marcus, because they just saw what happened to Marcus. Now, had we said, Marcus, wow, that's great, let me see your answers. And we see that Marcus has done the work and he's just efficient or gifted or got it done. And we celebrate by saying, all right, Marcus, until the rest of people are done, I want you to feel free to go out into the playground and have some time to yourself. You would watch more people complete the task and be done because they watch what happens to the person who finishes first. And so when we have this performance gap, and then we have this high performer tax, we have to really name it and deal with it. Otherwise, we can't really address it. This is a workplace phenomenon that, as I said earlier, is often described as a performance punishment. It happens when the most reliable person repeatedly receives extra work precisely because they are competent, precisely because they're good, precisely because they can get it done. Who gets asked to train the new employee? It's the dependable person. Who's expected to fix the presentation? It's the dependable, hardworking, reliable person. Who takes over when somebody misses a deadline or someone has to step outside the room? It's the dependable, reliable, hardworking, team-oriented person. Who joins another committee because the committee needs someone who will actually do the work, not just come to the meeting, not just talk the whole time, but roll their sleeves and write the report or convert the report into the spreadsheet. It's that dependable hard work. I know I'm talking to them. You're either listening, you're watching, or you'll watch later. It's the dependable, reliable, hardworking, team-oriented person. And what does that person receive for being this way? Well, unfortunately, according to this report, in many workplaces today, it's not a raise. It's not always a promotion. It's not even always public recognition. Sometimes the only reward for good work is more work. Let me put it plainly. Being capable, being dependable, being reliable, being team-oriented, being gifted and hardworking should not make someone the workplace dumping ground. There are hidden costs associated with this because the high performer begins enthusiastic. They want to help. They care about quality. They may even enjoy being trusted and having responsibility. I know I've certainly been that way where when I feel like someone trusts me with an important assignment or an important project, it makes me feel like I matter, like I value, my skills are valued and they can be put to good use. But I'm talking a little bit different than that good feeling that comes along with doing good work. I'm talking about when that never lets up, when it's always that person and it's always that person and that person's being punished really for being a high performer. That high performer begins enthusiastic. They begin with their cup full and they want to help. They want to pitch in. They may even want to go that extra mile, but over time, something changes because their contribution becomes expectation. And then their expectation, or rather that expectation then becomes dependency on them. Things can't move without them. They can't take a vacation. They can't be out of the office. They can't not come to the meeting. They can't work on something else because everything and everyone needs them, depends on them. And that dependency, quite frankly, in toxic kind of environments becomes exploitation, where your gifts and your talents are used for the advancement of the organization, the advancement of the team, for achieving KPIs and big goals, but nothing for the person. The person's needs are ignored. And eventually they realize I'm doing the work of 3 people, but I'm still being evaluated as one. I'm doing the work of 3 people, but I'm still being paid as one. I'm doing the work of 3 people, but I still have the office space of one. I still have the perks and the benefits of one. That realization is important to name because it can honestly lead to feelings of resentment and betrayal. And before you know it, that individual can be quite upset frustrated, withdrawing, and according to this report, burning out. So my work on belonging is not merely defining belonging as feeling liked or connected. It's talking about belonging at work, and at work settings or work-like settings, belonging includes feeling accepted and valued, recognized and supported, connected, treated like a legitimate member of the group, of the team. A worker has to be or may be included on every project and still feel like they don't belong. Why? Because being used is not the same as being valued. Being appointed is not the same as being respected. Being voluntold is not the same as being invited to contribute to something bigger than yourself. So for those who are workers out there feeling that way, one, you're not alone. It gets better. There are things you can do to combat those feelings. And those of you who are managers, executives, leaders who lead organizations and may be working with people who are made to feel this way, there are steps we must take to restore the healthy balance in workplaces so that people don't have to perform productivity. They can embody and enact it and live productivity. You can be needed for your labor, but unseen as a person. And that's where we start to really celebrate the person for what they do, the work they're doing for the org, the contributions they've made, the skills they bring, the report they finish, the deadline they met, the client they closed, the account they secured. But we miss and we don't ever pay attention to or check in on how they're doing at home, how their family, how are their kids, how are their pets, how are they processing and moving through the divorce? How is their body after the last cold or virus? How's their car? Whatever's going on in their life. There's a lot of life for all of us. And we need workplaces as humans where we feel needed and respected and valued for our labor, but also needed and respected and valued and seen for our life. That distinction is critical because some workplaces tell high performers, we could not do this without you. But what the employee hears is you will never be permitted to stop doing everything. That we will expect you to help us meet our goals and finish the product and sell the product and close the account and close the deal with the client. And we'll expect you to keep helping us win, regardless of the losses you experience in your life. So think about your own life, your own career. Have you ever been the person who could not take a day off because everything seemed to depend on you? Now, at first that might have felt flattering if you're like me, but eventually it becomes frightening because if an entire department collapses when one person rests, when one person unplugs, when one person takes a break, that is not proof of exceptional leadership or good work. That is proof of a fragile system, a system that is only awaiting the departure of the person in order for it to collapse, a system that is wrapped up, tied up, tangled up in a single person that is going to fail the moment that person finds their next, gets promoted to a new opportunity, decides to retire. Anything could happen. It's a fragile system. And most of us are not trying to build organizations that are built on fragile systems. We're trying to build organizations that are built strong, with strong teams that trust each other and are cohesive and can operate and perform at high levels, agile kind of employees and leaders that will operate at high levels and come up with durable solutions. All right, this is a good place for us to pause for a moment. When we come back, I want to move from the problem that we've been talking about to some solutions. We're going to talk about what productivity should actually mean, how trust and belonging influence performance, and what employees can do when efficiency repeatedly becomes punishment. I finish it and I get more work. I finish it and I'm suspect. I finish it and punishment for more work. But before we go to break, I want you to take a moment Two, do me a favor. If you haven't already, share the video link with folks. Go like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We got share it with the most dependable person that you know. You know the person, the one who gets the phone call, the one who fixes the mistake, the one who carries the team. Send this episode to them and tell them, I see the work that you are doing. You're listening to Do Good Work Podcasts, and I'm so glad you're tuning in this Sunday afternoon. I'm your host, Terrell Strayhorn, and I will be right back after this quick break.
Every day is a gift I get to unwrap. Every morning is a new opportunity. Every breath is a miracle. Every moment is precious and fleeting. Every day I'm alive is a day I'm blessed. Every single day is a gift. I'm not promised tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed next week. All I have is today, and today is enough. Today is beautiful, today is perfect, today is exactly what I need. Every day is a gift I'm not taking for granted. Oh, some people don't wake up this morning. Some people don't get another day. That's why I'm grateful for mine. That's why I appreciate every second. That's why I'm making the most of today. Every day is a gift, and I'm receiving it. Every day brings new possibilities. Every day brings new blessings. Every day is a fresh start. Lord, every day is a chance to be grateful. Every day is a chance to grow, love, and live. Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. I'm unwrapping it. Every day is a gift. I'm stepping in. 24 hours of being alive and awake. Every day. Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. I'm not wasting a single moment. 24 hours of being alive and awake. Every day. Every day. Every day is a gift. 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 Every day is a gift.
Every day is a gift. Hopefully you like that song, and certainly want to. It's getting kind of dark in here. That's too bright. But every day is a gift. I like that song, like the video. And so if you haven't thought about it, every single day that we get up and that we move and we get to do and be is a gift. So we are grateful for it. All right. So before we went to break, I was talking with you about this whole productivity and trust kind of thing. And so we discussed fake productivity is what it's called, and high performer tax. Now let's redefine productivity and get into some of the solutions here. Productivity is not constant activity. A person is not a machine. Human beings think, they solve problems, they create, they plan, they collaborate, they recover, they take breaks, they pick up speed. You know, some of the most important work happens when a person appears to be doing very little. Some of the best work that you can do is actually when you are asleep, when you are resting and recharging. You know, I've got this big deadline for work that I've been working on, and It does not require me to be up and moving and around and printing and copying and scanning. It requires a lot of sedentary time, sitting in front of the computer and working, sitting with paper and thinking and mapping out responses, right? A professor may stare out a window while designing the structure of an article. That's important work. A strategist may walk around the block and suddenly see the solution to a complicated organizational problem. I'm a musician. A songwriter could sit quietly at the piano until the right lyric appears. The moment he or she or they have that breakthrough, now they can really move forward with the genius of the creative expression. A leader could spend an hour listening to one employee and prevent 6 months of conflict as a result. None of those contributions can be accurately measured by mouse movement or by number of steps or by the amount of miles that you covered. Those metrics are inappropriate for assessing productivity in that sense. It may not be how long it took, but it's the depth of one's thoughts. It's the depth of one's effort. It's the depth of reflection. I know that certainly shows up. So productivity should connect to purpose. The right question is not how busy does everyone look, but rather, what are we trying to accomplish? What progress have we made? Was the work completed with quality? And did we serve the people we exist to serve? Did our activity produce a meaningful outcome? People are busy and lives are buzzing, but are we producing meaningful outcomes? Did we produce the impact? I was just pre-recording an episode earlier today with a person who's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. And that conversation had us talking about the sort of healing work that she does with her clients. And that healing work that she does, sometimes it takes a long time. They might have 3-4 sessions and there's no meaningful, observable, tangible outcome yet. Because you got to get to know the person, they've got to get to know themselves, they've got to, think through their experience so they can get to the source of their pain. They've got to judge whether or not they want to talk about it that day. They may not want to talk about it. They want to put a pin, come back to it the next session. So it takes a lot of time. But the question, did we get to the source of the pain? Are they healed yet? Those are inappropriate metrics for measuring the productivity and success of those sessions. Those sessions should be judged, and would be better judged by asking, did this particular session, 30-minute session, 60-minute session, did it produce a meaningful outcome? And the answer could be yes. Today, they got to understand, put their own emotions into words. Yes, this next session mattered because they were able to connect how they were feeling with what they were saying. Yes, this third session was helpful because they finally identified one of the sources of their pain and how it's showing up at work, right? Activity producing meaningful outcomes could be a way of measuring productivity and success. And when organizations lose sight of purpose, people compensate by producing signs of activity. When organizations lose sight of purpose and want to measure productivity by movement, by clicks, by emails, by meetings, people compensate for that by producing a whole lot of activity. They march, they walk, they dance, they do meetings. I was once saying to someone that, I have been places where meetings could have been emails. And we all know that nothing was so essential in that meeting that it had to be an in-person meeting or on-screen meeting or audio meeting. It could have simply been an email with 3 or 4 bullets. But sometimes when we work in places and spaces where that level of movement or activity is essential, then we have more meetings and more emails and more reports and more slides and more dashboards and more buzzwords and more language, but less progress. And sometimes even less performance. So belonging supports honest performance for me because people are more likely to communicate honestly when they feel psychologically and relationally safe. In my book, I write about a worker with a strong sense of belonging who says, who can say, who works in a place where he feels safe saying, I have capacity. I can do this. I can take on more work. But not so much in a place where he or she might say, I do not have capacity. Or to be in a place where you can say, I finished early. Or where they can say honestly and openly, this process is wasting time. Sense of belonging refers to workers having a workplace where they can feel safe to say, I made a mistake or I have a better idea. These are all signs of a healthy organization to me. And in the book, I was able to observe some healthy and unhealthy organizations and then document what made belonging organizations and unbelonging or non-belonging organizations. And in unhealthy organizations, employees learn to hide. They hide their mistakes. They hide their exhaustion. They hide their free time. They hide their disagreement. They don't feel safe to challenge. They don't feel safe to ask questions or to even innovate and be creative and find solutions to problems. Eventually, they hide talent and, quite frankly, they leave. So recent research, some of which is my own, examines this whole tie between burnout and belonging. And belonging can help reduce burnout by strengthening trust, recognition, and friendship and membership and support over time. Many times researchers in this space recommend practices that will boost belonging and buffer against burnout, like timely recognition of people, their talents, their contribution, transparent rules about advancement and promotion and raises, psychological safety, where you name, hey, I'm trying to create a space with you where you can challenge, you can ask questions, and you can push back, and intentional opportunities for connection with managers, supervisors, and colleagues and peers. That relationship makes sense well beyond some of the industries that have been studied. People can work hard when the work feels meaningful. They can navigate difficulty when they feel supported. And they can even manage overload when they trust that the overload is temporary. People can go above and beyond and out of the way, especially when they know there's a time boundness to it and that their contributions will be recognized. And, like I've had people who will step up and step beyond because I'll say to them, listen, we had a big event. You covered it. You handled it. You did this and that. Take the next day off. Or you know what? Because we worked all this week on some things, it required you to come in early and stay late, have Friday to yourself. Now, a lot of my people don't always take it just because I give it. Oh no, I want to come in, but they'll take a lighter load if they want to be even physically present. And I've even learned from that because I've had employees and staff members and team members who will say to me, no, I still want to come in because when I'm home, I'm by myself. I don't have anyone at home. So I think managers, leaders, supervisors have to also be responsive to that everyone is not trying to be home. And so maybe there's a way they can still come to work and be authorized by the leader, by the manager to have a lighter load because everyone, when you go home, you may not have someone there. So it can be lonely, and loneliness is real. It's a real crisis for some people. All right. So as we think about that, people can manage overload, especially when they know the overload is temporary. The other is trying to see if I can put these in the chat here. The other is that what wears people down really is not always hard work. It's not that you've given me, hard work and therefore I can't do it. I'm not gonna be able to make it. What wears people down isn't hard work. Sometimes it's invisible work. It's the fact that I have to do this and no one knows about it. It's the fact that I have to do this and I'm not getting paid for it. There's no compensation. And it's not always about pay, but we should pay people for their effort and their time and their energy. So it's not hard work, it's invisible work, or it's unfair work. It's the fact that I may have to do this, but other people don't have to do this, or I'm doing the work that should have been completed by others. So again, I don't think that as leaders, we should teach people that the consequence of them being good and being efficient and being hardworking and dependable and reliable and going above and beyond is that we're going to start giving the people who are lazy and shiftless and don't do their work, we're going to give them their work to do. No, we still have to, as leaders, hold those people accountable to that work. And if people are in the wrong seats and they can't do the job, then we have to take that next step of the leadership assignment. And either I was talking to one of my friends who's a academic leader at campus in the South yesterday, and she was saying something that I appreciated hearing again, and that is sometimes as the leader, our job is to help people get in the right seat. So it's not go get in a corner and do this assignment that you obviously cannot do. It's if we want you on the team and you can't do this assignment because it outstrips your skill set or it's beyond your ability, then let's figure out what role in the organization can you do that aligns with your skills and your abilities, right? And then I go search for someone who will do the job that you've now just vacated. That's one thing I can do as a leader. You can reposition people and put them in places where their skill sets match. But the second part is that if they are in a position where their skills don't match and their abilities don't match, that you give them that feedback, you give them the improvement plan, you offer them a map for how to grow and develop. But the moment they're not able to deliver and they're not showing that growth in the sort of prescribed period of time, that you work with human resources and talent management to get someone in that role who can help you do the work, right? So people don't burn out and they don't wear down because of hard work. A lot of times it's because of invisible work. 2, it's because of unfair work. I'm doing the work of others. I'm doing work that's not mine to do. And sometimes it's work without control. So I have no control over what I'm doing, just sort of executing tasks that are always prescribed to me by someone else. Work without acknowledgement. So I've done it. Someone else gets the credit for it. I never get celebrated, acknowledged, or appreciated for the work I do. It's work without meaning because people are still trying to do meaningful work, and work without hope. So what is it that we can do? Because we got to be able to do something in order to address this challenge. Let's talk about it here. So one, I'm going to make this really practical. What employees and leaders can do for those who are caught in this sort of conundrum or this situation between this performance tax as well as these pressures to perform productivity. One is for employees, document your results. Do not merely report that you were busy. Identify what you completed. What did you improve? What did you prevent? What did you generate? What did you advance? Instead of saying, I worked on several projects this week, or I worked for hours today. You might learn how to document that you completed the report, you resolved 3 client complaints, and you reduce the processing time from 5 days to 3 for things in your area. And if you document it in that way and keep a record, whether it's a physical record on paper or a note in your cell phone or on your personal device, then it means that you're also writing the script for your next job application and for your resume. You're translating activity into true impact. And it'd be even better if you can start to quantify that. So I completed 2 reports. I resolved 3 client complaints, and I reduced processing time from 5 days to 3, because what you can start to do is estimate based on how many people are involved in the processing of forms, the processing of purchases. You can start to estimate how much money you've saved or reduced in that as well. 2, for the employees, stop automatically rescuing every situation. Being a team member does not require you to become the permanent solution to poor planning. Being a good team member does not require you to become the permanent solution to everyone's problem. Before accepting additional work, you might ask, what should be deprioritized so I can complete this? I literally just had this conversation with an employee this past week. That when something becomes an emergency or urgent, then you might either talk to employees as the leader, as an employee, talk to your supervisor, manager, or even one of your colleagues and say, what should be deprioritized so I can complete this task? That's not resistance. That's workload management. That's workload management. It is also, managing your cognitive bandwidth. 3, ask how excellence is rewarded during performance conversations or one-on-ones or Monday stand-ups. Ask, how does this organization really recognize employees who consistently exceed expectations? You can ask your supervisor, you can ask your manager, you can ask human resources and talent management. You can even ask your coworkers who have been there longer. How does this organization recognize employees who consistently exceed expectations? Don't assume that leaders automatically see everything. You have to advocate for yourself, sometimes using evidence, because they may not be aware of all that you've accomplished, all that you've done, especially when some of that work was invisible. 4, be honest about your capacity. You do not need to pretend that you are drowning in order to prove that your job matters, nor do you need to pretend that you have it all under control when in fact you are drowning. You don't have to volunteer every available minute to an organization that you work with. You got to be honest about your capacity. Can you take it on? Can you manage it? Do you need some help? Do you need support? Even if you start off strong, you start to sink, don't be afraid to reach out or reach up and ask for help. Being honest about your capacity. Now let me talk for a moment to the leaders, the supervisors, the managers, the team, directors. One thing you can do is evaluate outcomes, not theater. Clarify what success really looks like for your team. Define the essential results. Don't look for who's moving, who's walking by, who's always there, but look at the results and then give capable people reasonable autonomy in how they achieve those results. 2, don't make competence expensive. Right? When people or someone consistently exceeds expectations, don't only respond with additional assignments. When someone says, hey, I can do this, and they do a great job, don't then say, well, try this report. And when they do the report, don't say, now try creating the deck. And when they create the slide deck, don't say, now try your hands at sales. And when they win the sales, say, hey, you may as well. No. When someone consistently exceeds expectations, pause for a moment and celebrate their good work. Don't be afraid to offer recognition, development, support, flexibility, compensation, advancement, promotion, sometimes just even influence in the team, right? And this doesn't have to be formal, although formal promotion and title changes are important. When someone exceeds our expectations consistently, we shouldn't reward them with just good work or more work, rather. We should also offer them the things that humans are driven to receive, driven and motivated to like recognition. Recognition doesn't have to be a plaque, although plaques are great. So too are continuing education credits and certificates. Sometimes recognition is just a shout out at the Monday stand-up or at the staff meeting. Or I was in Pennsylvania doing some consulting work some time ago, and a woman talked about her supervisor writing a post about her on LinkedIn. You can do that. You can write a post about someone who made an impact in your life, tag them in it, and that's a major public form of recognition. 3, examine workload distribution. Sometimes we overload the high performer because addressing the low performer feels uncomfortable, or we just don't want to address the low performer. That is unfair to both people, of course. The high performer becomes exhausted, and then the low performer becomes enabled. So examine workload distribution and make sure you are offering work and opportunity to all your team members. 4, try to create permission for truth. Ask your employees what work creates the most value for you. What work seems to waste your time or seems a waste of your time? What responsibility do you have right now that you think should be stopped or simplified or automated? And what role can I play in helping with that? And what support would help you perform better? Maybe administrative support, maybe financial support, it may be mental health support. But asking these kinds of questions can create space for truth and honesty. And here's the thing. If you're going to create permission for truth and ask questions, then don't punish them for answering you honestly. 5, and last, recognize recovery as part of performance. Rest is not the enemy of productivity. Recovery protects judgment, creativity, patience, and concentration. A burned out employee can still be present. They may still answer emails. They may sit through meetings. They may complete the report. They may even go to the company picnic. But presence is not the same as full capacity. That our burned out employees need time to rest, reset, recharge, so that that burnout can be turned around and be a major breakthrough for productivity. All right. So here's this week's Do Good Work Challenge. For the next 5 work days, I want you to try to pay attention to the difference between activity and impact. Activity and impact. And whether you're working in a physical location or you're working in a remote setting, or you aren't even working anymore, you're working on your own kinds of projects, no matter what kind of work we do, if it's at home, at work, in church, or at play, for the next 5 days, I want you to pay attention to the difference between activity and impact. And at the end of each day, I want you to write down at least 3 things. First, thinking through your day, whether you are just starting your career or you're retired and have ended your career. 1, what did I do today? 2, what difference did it make? 3, what did I do merely to appear busy? Don't judge yourself. Just tell yourself the truth. And then leaders out there, I want you to add a 4th question, and that is, what behavior is my organization unintentionally rewarding? What behavior is my organization unintentionally? I'm going to tell you, if you can do this every single day, ask those questions, and then you have a whole week's worth of data to go through. At the end of the week, you'll be able to look at this and see some low value activities that you can stop, or you can shorten, you can simplify, or you can replace. But you'll also notice some high value activities that are helping you get good work done, and you can start rinsing and repeating those so you can be even more productive in your life. All right. So listen, let me leave you with this. You were not hired to perform exhaustion. Your worth is not measured by how tired you look. Your commitment is not proven by how many evenings you surrender or how many meetings you attend. Your value does not increase simply because everybody knows that you will always say yes. Good work is not the same as endless work. Good work has a purpose. Good work has integrity. And good work improves something. It solves a problem. It serves someone well. It creates new knowledge, or it opens a door, it builds a bridge, and it leaves people, systems, and communities better than we found them. But good work's got to be sustainable, because work that destroys the worker is not good. Not for the person, not for the organization, not for the people the organization exists to serve. So employees, do not hide your efficiency this week. Name your contribution, protect your capacity. And remember that boundaries are not evidence that you don't care. Sometimes boundaries are how you preserve your ability to care well. And leaders, do not build cultures where people must perform busyness to feel secure. Trust your people. Measure what matters. Recognize excellence. Address poor performance honestly, and never confuse a person's willingness to carry the load with an unlimited capacity to carry it forever. There are people carrying capacities in organizations, both in churches and homes and houses and communities and organizations. They are carrying the capacity for so many, and they need rest. They need a break. They need to recharge. They need recovery. The goal is not to look busy. The goal is not to sound smart. The goal is not to stay exhausted. The goal is to create meaningful results, to treat people with dignity, and leave the work better than we found it. That's how we lead. That's how we belong. And friends, that is how we do good work. Listen, I'm Terrell Strayhorn. This is Do Good Work Podcast. I see the numbers are going and going and going. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. If you haven't already,
fam, want to know how to subscribe to the channel?
Like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Click the bell so you'll be notified as we have new episodes each and every week. And don't just go away. Stay for the closing song, but also come back next week for another episode of Do Good Work Podcast. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to give you a quick excerpt, and then we'll close with our closing song. All right. Remember this: if no one's told you you matter, you're enough, and you belong here just the way you are.
What does it truly mean to do good work? It's not just about excellence. It's about making a real difference. Do Good Work Podcast explores how impactful work can transform lives and communities. Join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for the Do Good Work Podcast. Stream live on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. Be part of a community that values meaningful change. Our mission is to highlight leaders, educators, politicians, and change makers everywhere. We redefine success by showcasing stories of transformation, liberation, and innovation. In each episode, discover how individuals like yourself can and are making a difference. Through inspiring stories, we aim to ignite your passion for change. Learn from those who are not just succeeding, but are also impacting lives positively. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episodes. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Stay connected and be part of our growing community. Engagement is key. Drop comments in the chat. I know your support helps us continue to bring impactful stories to life. Double tap and show some love for the work that truly matters.
Protect your peace, your joy, your happiness. Thank you. I won't give my peace away. I won't give my peace away. I will just guard my heart and mind in truth and love divine. I won't give my peace away. I won't give my joy away. I will not give my joy away. Just guard my heart and mind. Let gratitude abide. I won't give my joy away. I won't give my happiness away. Hey, I won't give my happiness away. Happiness away. Heart and mind, and treasure this gift inside. I won't give my happiness away. I won't give my happiness away. I won't give my happiness away. I am protecting my peace. I am holding my joy close. I am standing in my happiness. I am worthy of every good thing. I am grounded. I am centered. I am calm. I am strong.
I choose love. I choose hope. I choose to keep the good things safe inside of me.
My peace is sacred.
My joy is sacred.
My joy is sacred.
My happiness is sacred.
I will not give
the good things away so easily.